starting with, make one thing clear from the beginning. When I am, whatever I'm doing in the position as Minister of Rummy, I do my utmost to make sure I'm transparent and everything is done according to the procedures that is in place by the government of St. Martin. I know previously, before I assumed the position as minister, in my previous function, there was a discussions that government had acquired property over the bank, and that the ministry had to initiate and do some research to start the process to have the property properly subdivided and prepare terms of reference for putting in the infrastructure and so forth. When I became a minister of Rummy, the ministry, all ministers does receive from their ministries a transitional document, and I received such, and part of that transitional document, the ministry outlines policies and priorities that they are busy with, and one of the things them on that transitional document was the over-the-bank property. In my initial discussions with the SG from the ministry, we indicated to continue the process. The ministry was busy with assessment. There was 2 sections to the property. There's a built area with a certificate of a measurement 290 from 1984, and an unbuilt area with a certificate of a measurement 162 from 2014. The assessment was done. I indicated that they should prepare a terms of reference, that we start with the subdivision of the property. I received the advice for the terms of reference on February 24th of 2016. That was approved, and in March of 2016, it was published in the local newspapers, and the bidding process began. On the 21st of April 2016, it was brought forth, the Council of Ministers, to award the assignment for the subdivision plan for the property. That was approved, and on June 2016, a letter of acceptance was signed by the company ICE to begin the work of the subdivision of the property. In July of 2016, the end of July, the subdivision was completed. Along with the ministry, I received the final version of the subdivision of that property, and so the process began with what was awarded, what was finalized, the subdivision, and then in the interim, we received, I would say, close to 300 requests specifically for over the bank. There were some requests came in alluding to a previous request that was submitted. Some citizens indicated, listen, in 2011, I put in a request, and I'm just putting in a new request, and I'm referring back to that request. But the notion somehow is that because an election is right around the corner, that somehow we quickly went and given out lots and so forth. That is far from the truth. It's a process that started in December, as I just indicated, when I received the transitional document. This is what we are working on, and then we went through the whole procedure, preparing a terms of reference, putting it out for bid, awarding the contract, and then the company then providing, and it was negotiations in between. Of course, they presented different drafts of the subdivision, and eventually one was agreed upon, and that was approved. Again, it's the whole master plan, I would say, of providing affordable housing to young professionals, apart from the subdivision for granting of residential lots over the bank. I've also had discussions with the St. Martin Housing Foundation, and of course I alluded to this previously with APS, with the development of the welgelegen property. With the St. Martin Housing Foundations, 2 properties was transferred to them recently. That was the Foga property and a property in Upper Princess Quarter where our old hotel was located. The Upper Princess Quarter property, 24 units will be built for sale, again for young professionals. The Foga project, 32 units will be constructed, also for sale for young professionals. The target group then is young professionals. And the Welgelegen property, I had a meeting, a presentation with APS and the architects. Groundbreaking will be sometime the last week of September. And there's 61 2- and 3-bedroom units will also be built for sale, and the target group again is young professionals. So again, if you look at the overall strategy, it's about providing housing for young professionals, and the property over the bank is just a part of the overall policy. So again, we started with paving of dirt roads. That is now being executed. If then we do some neighborhood and the other neighborhoods is for a later date, I mean, then they could raise the same thing, or because it's election time, you're paving roads. But again, if I got to follow that trend, it's best we sit down and do nothing till after election. But there is a process that was followed. You need to go through the bidding process and so forth. And now, starting from July, things are being executed.
Life is a journey full of connections. You're in safe hands even when life starts too soon. You don't have to miss a single beat. When a bad hair day makes you sad, just sharing can bring you joy and more to come. They take the plunge, turn fear into faith, while you capture those beautiful moments. In the game of life, it's family that counts. They'll be there even when you lose. We all have our moments of reflection and hope. And when you feel you're losing everything in life, we're there, because there's more to come. When life starts too soon, you don't have to miss a single beat. We're here to connect you and share life. Telcel, when you want more.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guilders releasing. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
First, I want to pick up the young men of the Dutch Quarter, Middle Region area. They have gotten the garbage contract to clean the roads, and a job well done. We are putting in place an information service center for the youth to put back the military service in place that we had before. We build roads, yes or no? We build schools. You know what we're going to do now? We're going to build hotels too. I remember after Mullet Bay, somebody got up and said, I have the key. That too was an empty shell. So people of St. Martin, your hospital is coming. I've seen that the government building was standing there for a long, long time. And if you look at it now, before this election date on the 26th of September, we will move into the building. That is the National Alliance. Pastor, if I wasn't good in my faith, you would have moved me. But I am a National Alliance, and I'm going nowhere.
has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Mega Wadi is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
We commissioned the first of 3 new ambulances for St. Martin. 2 other ambulances are currently under production and being outfitted, and they're expected to arrive within several months. And interesting to note, all of them are 4-wheel drive vehicles. Some of the previous ambulances were 2-wheel drive, and knowing some of the locations that the ambulances need to access, sometimes that was difficult. So all of the 3 new ambulances are 4-wheel drive vehicles, and like I said, the first was commissioned yesterday. In addition to the new ambulances, we've also ordered, and the first has arrived as well with the new ambulance, 7 hydraulic stretchers. Many of the employees in the ambulance department have complained that they have problems with their back or joints or knees because the old stretchers are manual stretchers, and they have to be, when you put the person in the stretcher, you have to lift them physically, and that puts a stress on the employees. And so the hydraulic stretchers, you can just push a button and it lifts up so that they don't have the same problems, hopefully, with back, knees, and other joints. In addition to that, we've also finalized the plans to purchase, to digitalize the run sheets for the ambulance. So currently, the administration for the ambulance is a paper system. So whenever the ambulance goes out, makes a run, whether it's a critical run or a non-critical run, they fill out paperwork, and that needs to be entered into the administration. That process will now be digitalized. So a number of investments into the ambulance department, which is obviously a critical part of the country's emergency response team. But besides investing in new equipment, we have also invested in training for the ambulance staff. This was done with the RAV out of Brabant. This is a training service that worked together with the ambulance staff in St. Martin. And as well, this, I think, also dovetails well into the ministry's cooperation with different social partners in terms of first aid courses in the community. So in terms of a first-line response, it's always best if citizens, and in particular we've seen it with teachers, that they've gone through training, that they know what to do in emergency situations or what not to do in emergency situations, as well as different CPR techniques. So all of this, I think, fits very well into the ministry's plan of improving overall quality of health care in St. Martin, and in this particular instance, in particular, focused on the ambulance service. But naturally, investments all need to be paid back. So not only have we worked on investments into the ambulance department, we're also looking at how do we improve the revenues that the ambulance department collects. Sadly, over the years, the revenue collection from the ambulance department has been very low. In 2014, it was 66,505 guilders. In 2015, it was 72,189 guilders. With changes that we've made now, and I'd like to thank people within the ministry, from within the cabinet, Selby Phillips, but also from the ambulance department, Sil Red Richardson, and Roxanne Howell from finance of the ministry. In cooperation with the receiver's office, I'd like to thank Minerva Gums, head receiver, and her staff, as well as the SMMC, Davinia Carbier, the finance manager. So together with the partners, what we've arranged is a cooperation agreement with the medical center, since in the end, the ambulance brings most of the patients to the hospital. So one of the things that's happened and why the collections have been low is no fault of the receiver and no fault of the ambulance department. I think simply it's government's typical bureaucracy, that these paper run sheets were then later turned over to the receiver over probably a fairly long period of time, and then the receiver would generate invoices to go out to collect that money. And from experience, that process could take many, many months. And to give you an example, when a tourist comes, if they have an incident, they use the ambulance. By the time they are gone, it's months later that an invoice is ever generated, so collections is a real issue. So what we've done is we've made an agreement between the hospital, the ministry, and the receiver's office, and the ambulance department, that the hospital will now collect the fees on behalf of government. So that's where the cooperation with the receiver comes into place. So they are now entitled to collect the money on behalf of government, and they then turn over that money to the receiver's office. And in exchange for this service, we happily pay them a 10% commission for the work that they do. So this helps to support the revenues for the SMMC. It helps government to increase its revenues. As of May, projected through to December of 2016, the year we're in now, we are already projecting a threefold increase in the revenues to be collected for ambulance service. And for 2017, in particular in combination with the digitalization of the run sheets, we're expecting even greater revenues. And this is important, like I said, because all of the investments that we need to make eventually need to be paid for. And so just collecting money that's already on the street is obviously a critical part of government's function. Now, besides collecting the money that's on the street, or let's say the low-hanging fruit in the trees, to compare the tariffs of what St. Martin charges for ambulance service, St. Martin, for an emergency run, collects only 275 guilders, and for a non-emergency run, 138 guilders. Just a quick comparison with Curacao. Curacao collects 915 guilders for an emergency run versus 458 for a non-emergency run. So one of the priorities for the ministry going forward is going to be to adjust the tariffs to make sure that they're a more reasonable rate. Certainly, I believe there's room for increasing the tariffs, and in the end, that translates into higher quality of service for the people.
I am Rudolph Samuel, candidate number 5 on the National Alliance slate. So on September 26, go out and vote for me to represent you in Parliament.
Bob, I can understand why you're parking so carefully. Of course, when you can get 80% discount on your Be Sure car insurance. But that's overdoing it, Bob.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Yeah. Oh my, what an inventory list, and so unnecessary. But wait, your home contents are all insured by Be Sure. That means that you determine the amount you want to insure. No inventory list, no hassle.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
These are the doors that never close. These are the hands that make a difference. These are the walls that could tell countless stories of helping and healing, of storms weathered, of change and growth, of a place where life begins, where hearts are mended, and where hope grows stronger. For more than a quarter of a century, the physicians, medical professionals, and staff of St. Martin Medical Center have combined advanced medical technology and compassionate care to bring a world of medicine to our friends, neighbors, and visitors to the island of St. Martin we all call home. As proud as we are of what we have accomplished, we believe there is still much work to do to continue a proud tradition of providing everyone in our community with the latest technology, the best medicine, and the most exceptional care. St. Martin Medical Center, celebrating 25 years of serving, caring, healing.
If the announcement comes that because of the protest that others are planning to engage on, that these people say, you know what, Antigua is not too far away from St. Martin, or St. Kitts is not too far away from St. Martin. And they seem to be very much receptive to business people. So let's take our investment there, let's take our plan there, and then we get the other side of the coin. Oh, you see, the government allowed such a big project to get away from them, and now we are taking backseat. All of that business could have come to St. Martin. When I say all of that business, it is more than just the construction of a hotel. The plan is actually establishing a China-Caribbean hub in St. Martin. The Chinese, and when we say the Chinese, it is not China. It is a company owned by, it's a public-private partnership between the government of China and local Chinese business people. They have been looking for a hub where they can springboard from and operate from. By establishing it in St. Martin that has good air connections and a good port, they figured, well, by coming to St. Martin, we would be able to set up shop in St. Martin, and from there, organize business conferences, organize conventions, bring groups to St. Martin. And if you have a company that wants to invite their regional representatives, whether it's as far from Santo Domingo, Puerto Rico, Miami, Trinidad, Colombia, because China is on the opposite side of the world where you have to travel hours to get to this part of the world. So by coming and having your center here, it is easier to do business with the rest of this part of the region and the world. So again, what it offers is a conference center, convention center, business centers, and the apartments that the minister mentioned. We have so many developments where, again, if you take West End, for instance, they have the hotel section and they have the condo section. We have timeshare properties on St. Martin that some of the rooms are hotel rooms and some of them are apartments owned by persons. And when they are not utilizing it because they're not coming to live in St. Martin, but by having your own unit as part of, let's say, the hotel, when you as the owner or your business associates come to St. Martin, they have somewhere, and when it is not in use, it becomes part of the rental pool, which is a normal business practice in the travel industry.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
The Division of Exams makes it known that as of 1st of September, the registration until the 30th of September, the registration is taking place for LUNS examen. So that is for all applicants who would like to sit the exams for VSBO levels, HAVO, VARIO, during next year when they are given. So the registration can take place during the month of September. This is at the Brook Towers building from 1 to 4 p.m. on the said dates. Candidates must always bring their valid photo ID, copy of their passport, as well as last grade lists. This is a great opportunity, so I would really like to highlight this in the media. Some students may have actually stopped school or have not passed their exams in the last session and now up to do the LUNS examen, so not sitting in classrooms to sit it with their regular classes. So this is an opportunity to still be able to get their diplomas. Of course, a lot of independent study and the like is required, so I wish much success to all those applicants as you make use of this opportunity.